Dear students, in this video we will see some more details about dynamic programming or allocating memory at the runtime. So I will discuss some new function that is called malloc function in C++, and then I will discuss how to overload new operator and what is the need of overloading this new operator. So first let's discuss about malloc function. So dynamic memory allocation in C++ using malloc. C++ dynamic memory allocation can be defined as a procedure in which the size of data structure, for example array, is changed during the runtime. So if you do not want to make array size fixed, this we know that in C++ if we are not doing dynamic memory allocation, then array size is fixed, array size is constant. You cannot make array size as variable. So using dynamic memory allocation, that array size can be changed during runtime. So for this dynamic memory allocation, C++ provides some function to achieve these tasks. There are 4 library functions mainly provided by C++. Defined under library is stdlib.h. So for some compiler only stdlib will work, for some compiler stdlib.h will work. For Visual Studio only we need not to include any library, it works without library, it is included itself. So these 4 functions are malloc, free and 2 operators, new and delete. So we have discussed new and delete operators in detail. So now I will discuss first malloc and free, and then I will tell you how to overload this new operator with the help of malloc function. So malloc or in detail we say it memory allocation. Memory allocation is a method in C++ that is used to dynamically allocate a single large block of memory with the specified size, whatever size you give. It returns a pointer of type void. When I say it returns a pointer of type void, it means it can be cast to any type of pointer. Okay, so now my pointer type is not decided. So it means again if we return a void type of pointer, you can assign it to any type of variable. Ptr syntax is, let's say Ptr is your pointer name. So Ptr is equal to cast type, whatever type you want, asterisk, malloc and byte size. So for example, Ptr is equal to int asterisk malloc 100 into size of int. So what is the size of int? Size of int is 4. So it reserves 400 bytes. Since the size of int is 4 bytes, this statement will allocate 400 bytes of memory. And the pointer Ptr holds the address of first byte in the allocated memory. So if I write Ptr is equal to int asterisk malloc size 100 into size of int, 400 bytes of memory, and the pointer holds the address of first bytes of memory location. Similarly, C++ has another method that is called free. This is to deallocate memory, similarly like delete operator. The memory allocated using function malloc is not deallocated on its own. So hence the free method is used whenever the dynamic memory allocation takes place. It helps to reduce wastage of memory by freeing it, and its syntax is quite simple, simply free and ptr name. Inside a parameter you will write ptr name. So here is a small program, I write it already. So let's say it is how to use of malloc function, use of malloc. So here we have, just a minute, here I declare one variable, integer variable n, and one pointer ptr. So if you want to input size of array, yes, input size of array and then ptr int asterisk malloc n into size of int. So by this you can allocate, you can make an array of n size, means variable size, whatever size you want you can input this side. So it means you need not to define array size as constant earlier. For example, what we are doing till now, we take array size 100, then whatever less than 100 we could input it, but then rest of the bytes reserved for that array, memory bytes are wasted. So in this case, this is a kind of new, using new also you could do this. So this is a another example of dynamic memory allocation using malloc function. So let's check it. See, let's say my array size is 3. So because every time I say ptr I will be I, so every time it gives I 0, 1 and 2. So by this way it reserves, allocate memory dynamically. So similarly we can, one more thing, we can overload, just I'm going to delete it, we can overload new operator using with the help of this malloc function. How to overload it with the help of malloc function, and what is the need of overloading it? So overloading it, because you know that with the help of this new operator we can create dynamic arrays. But what if you want to create an array of object? Will constructor, parameterized constructor work with this array? How to create object array dynamically? So for that purpose we have to overload that new operator. We have to tell the compiler that now this new operator will work for object array also. So let's say we have a class name is person. Okay, let's say we have a class and class name is person, and let's say this class has two private members, name and age. So let's say string name and int age, and then some public functions. Let's say one default constructor. So this is our default constructor. Let's take one parametric constructor also. So string name and int age. And just define the constructor, this arrow name is equal to name and this arrow age is equal to age. Let's define two more functions, set data and get data. So void set data. So let's put the syntax same for set data also, pass the parameter and assign all this. So let's write it. Okay, string name int age, this name is equal to name, this age is equal to age. Now get data is just to print void get data, cout name is equal to name and age is equal to age, and let's come to the next line. Now let's say we want to overload that new operator. So we do not know the pointer type. So let's say it will return a void pointer, and let's write operator keyword, and then operator is new. Okay, and let's say we want to overload this new operator. So we will write a void type pointer here, void asterisk ptr, and then let's write what, okay, okay, I'm sorry, here should be the size, which size. So if you remember, there is a data type called size underscore t, which is nothing but an integer, and it reserves the size, what is the size, whatever size you want to allocate. So now let's say void asterisk p is equal to, or you could define a pointer, p is equal to void asterisk malloc, and you can pass the total size, which you will give here size, and here you could return p, and this p should be a pointer. Okay, so it should be void asterisk p. So this is how we overload this new operator. What this operator function is doing, it is overloading this new operator for the given size, whatever size you pass, Okay, and then it will one by one it will allocate a whenever you call this new function, one by one it will allocate a void pointer which can be assigned to anything. So now let's say we write person string p is equal to new person, and here we give the size. So either you could give dynamic size also. So let's say int size, input size of array, input size of array, next line scene size, and then here you could give that size, and inside for loop you could allocate memory. So for int allocate value, you could assign values I less than size, I plus plus, and then pi dot set data, and you could set the value of name and age. So here we could took two more variables. So let's say string name, and let's say int age. Here I write it, sorry, int age, and here you could write input value for name and age, input value for name and age, and then you could see in name and age and you could pass it. So inside for loop it will be passed see in name, see in age, and then name comma age, and sorry, what it is saying, I is undefinable, why? Okay, because I forgot to open this. Now it's okay. Similarly, we can print all these values. For int I is equal to 0, I less than size, I plus plus. So by this way you can create array of objects. So it is pi dot get data. So now when you will run it, dynamically it will create an array of objects. It will ask size. So let's say size is 3. So now let's say ABC is name, 12 is age. Let's say XYZ is name, 13 is age. Let's say PQR is name, 14 is age. And then it will print everything. Name is equal to ABC. Oh, I forgot to put end line between name and age. That's why it is giving you. So that's how you can create dynamic array of objects using malloc function. Again, I am repeating here, malloc function assign a void pointer type, and this function will return this operator new function, whatever how we overload this function, this will return always a void type of pointer. So whenever we call it here to that size of array, every time it will return a void type of pointer, and we are assigning that pointer to the object person pointer p. So every time it is giving you value. If you do not overload this function, you could not write array of dynamic array for dynamic object array. You cannot make an object array dynamic. You should make it static. You can refer my previous video for this particular reason. And this is how we can create object dynamically. Hope this will help you. And then you can call if you want, you can call you can create a single member also. You can call your parametric constructor also. For example, person q is equal to new person, and here we call, let's say TUV, let's say TUV, and put the age. So this is also means like you can create single member also, and you can call your parametric constructor also. So Q arrow get data, and it will show you everything. So this is how we open this with we call the parametric constructor here, and by single object also we can create single object. See, basic meaning will never lost, but because we have overload the operator, so now it will work for object array also. So let's check it now. So let's say my array size is 2, and let's say name M is 12, name K is 13. So first one name and age, and then it is giving for pointer Q also. So let me put an end line between this, so just so that output will be more clear. Here I forgot to put end line. Okay, so now similarly you can overload delete operator also using free. So so that it will work for arrays. Void operator, because it will not return anything, operator will be delete, and we delete always for arrays. Delete works like this, and we should pass a pointer void strict p, and let's say free p. So it will free the whole memory allocated to this pointer. It will free the pointer, and this is just to check that this function is called or not. Checking called free. So this is just to check. Called free I write just to check that this function is calling, compiler is calling this function or not. And now our array is delete p. P is the array, and simple we can delete q always, but q will be deleted without calling any function because it's not overloaded. So let's check it now. So let's say size of array is 2, ABC 12, XYZ 13, and then see ABC, XYZ and called free. So when we delete that array, it called that overloaded function. Otherwise it deleted it normally. So this is how you can overload new and delete operator for dynamic memory allocation and deallocation for class members. So likewise, by overloading this new and delete operator, you can create object of arrays. Thanks for watching it. See you in the next video with some more good examples.